guys, I'm back with a part 2 of my other video, Marilyn, Madonna and me, because somebody asked me, how did I get into doing Marilyn in the first place? Well, it all started back in 1991 when I used to have my hair dyed black and styled in a Marilyn style. I was 19, 19. And my friend, I had a postcard of Marilyn on my bedroom wall, and my friend said to me, do you know what, if you were blonde, you could do a really good Marilyn. And I was like, oh, sort of thought there, and all the rest of it. And then I said to my mum about it, and my mum was like, yeah, that's a good idea. And then people just started talking about it, saying, you should look into that. So I went, and then I went to my hairdressers to get my hair done. I was going to go there. Everyone said, you should go blonde. So I went to the hairdressers, and my friend Andy, my hairdresser, Andy, he said, oh, you've got to go blonde. You've got to do Marilyn. It's a no-brainer. So basically, I went blonde. And I need to keep this as brief because it's quite a long story. So from then, I went blonde. Well, it went orange first because my hair was dyed black with box dye. So it was orange first. And so I had to go back 4 weeks later and have it cut because it basically snapped off my ponytail. I took it off rather than took it out. It came off and I put it on the table. So I had to have it cut and I had to have it dyed up 4 weeks later, bleached up, nice and white blonde, nice and like this. And so from there, I started trying to impersonate Marilyn. I was only 19. I used to just be in my bedroom, put my Marilyn recordings on, the tape, the cassette, back in the day. And I used to sing along to her songs and watch her movies and try to learn her mannerisms and everything else. And then one day I said to my friend and her baby and my mum were downstairs and I was upstairs getting ready. And I came down and I said, do you guys want to see me do Marilyn? And they said, yeah, go on. So I ran upstairs, got my tape. And I never really had any Marilyn style clothes in those days. All I had was this little black strapless dress with like a peplum sort of at the waist and it went to a pencil. And I did my hair best I could. I was still learning. I had no idea on makeup and hair, how to do it. I just did my best. And I did Marilyn. I sang Diamonds, I Want to Be Loved by You, and My Heart Belongs to Daddy. And I did my little routines. And they were just sat there going, that's amazing. Oh my God. And my friend went, I'm phoning the papers. I went, they don't want to know. They don't want to know. And they said, no, they do. Because another thing, I'll get to it in a minute, might have to do a part 2. But I joined my dad's show. He was on stage, as I told you before in the previous video. So she said, we're phoning the papers. So they phoned up the local papers and within an hour, they were out taking pictures, doing a little story about it. I was just like, what is happening this morning? I was just watching Why Don't You? Like, whatever, like, no, and now I'm here doing this. And then, of course, that went in the paper the next week and everybody was like, oh, Melanie, oh, it's so good, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, my dad and his partner wanted me to join their show, which I did. So I started actually gigging around then. And yeah, I remember my first gig was at Bramhill. It was just like an easer in. So I don't know you don't know where Bramhill is. I'm sure only locals do. But okay, it was a local farm area. And they had a marquee and they were having a do. And my dad's production show was playing there, his comedy show. Him and his partner, they were doing a gig. They did comedy and music. And I slotted in between 20 minutes Marilyn and then off. They did a bit, I was back on 20 minutes Madonna. So my first gig was just Marilyn though. I wasn't doing Madonna at this point. And I remember, it was really funny. I'd never been on stage on my own before. I'd been on I was a backing singer in a country band with my cousin. So I had other people on stage with me in those days. But this is my first time on my own. So I go out and I remember before going out, my dad used to do it. They used to do a space sketch and they used to have the firm Star Trek in. And they would dress up, they were spacemen and they had Margaret Thatcher things and Reagan. It was a really funny sketch that they did. And I always remember that song and I was waiting in the wings and I was just standing there. I say wings, it was a marquee. I was standing behind ready to go on. And I remember being so scared. I said, and I never had alcohol in those days, never touched it. And I said, can I have a brandy just to calm my nerves? I was like, because I'm literally so frightened. So I had this brandy. I remember being backstage thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing? I was on my own. I'd never done it. I was like, oh my God. And so, yeah, I had this gold lame dress that I bought from the catalogue. It wasn't a long one, it wasn't matte, it was just a gold mini bodycon lame, same thing, halter neck lame dress. Did the job for a beginner. And so I'm waiting and they introduced me and I literally thought, I'm going to faint. I'm literally going to faint with nerves right now as they were introducing me. So anyway, I go on and the songs that I did were a really crappy backing track in those days of Diamonds. And then it was really hard to get any Marilyn songs. So all I had was Diamonds and I found my claim. So in between that, I had to find another song to do. So I used to do Elvis's version of Love Letters. So I would sing it in the higher key. So it's love letters straight, like that. And then you have to go really high. Anyway, so that's what I used to do. And I remember going out there and my dad had a smoke machine they used to use. And of course I'm there singing Diamonds and, you know, with all the lights and everything, it's great. And then all of a sudden I go into Love Letters. So my dad thinks, oh, let's give some ambience. We'll whack the smoke on from, you know, backstage. They whack out a few puffs of smoke. A few puffs of smoke. I disappeared with the amount of smoke that came out. You couldn't see me. I couldn't see the audience. The audience couldn't see me. And there I am singing Love Letters as Marilyn. And you couldn't even see me. I was just like a mist floating around on the stage singing here and there. And I was sort of trying to waft it away in a Marilyn kind of way. Wasn't working. But it was really funny. And that was my very, very first show. I'm going to do a few videos of my stories of on the road as Marilyn and Madonna. So, you know, you get an idea of what it's like, what it was like. For those of you that are interested, of course, I know everybody's not going to want to know, but, you know, for those of you that think, oh, I'd like to hear about this. So I'm going to do, that was my very first gig. The next one I did, I'll quickly remember, I think was in Swindon, because obviously living in Wiltshire and stuff with Swindon quite near. So it did a lot in Swindon, but I remember the next one in Swindon. That went really well. I will save those stories for another time. I've got a really, really quite a funny one of when I did Madonna one time down in Bristol, a celebrity party thing. And I have a story to tell you about that, which will give you a giggle. If not, put a smile on your face, you know. So I will come back with that one. But it was very interesting. It snowballed and snowballed, and I've got I did it for about 3-4 years, so I've got quite a few stories to tell. And it's, you know, for those who are interested, like I said, and it's good fun. And funny enough, Marilyn and Madonna keep popping back into my life no matter how I say, oh, I'm not going to do it. Oh, you know, I'm done with that now. Somehow or another, they come back and there I am again, doing it again. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. And like I say, I will be back with some more stories and tales of my days on the road as Marilyn and Madonna to fill you in, for those that want to know. And yeah, some of them are funny, some of them are like, what? You know, it's interesting. All the backstage stuff is fun, isn't it? I think it is anyway. So I hope you're having a great day, and thank you to everybody who has been watching, liking and commenting and subscribing to my channel and liking my videos and commenting. It's really nice to get to know you all. You know, we're getting a little community going on. I really like it. It's so lovely. And I really genuinely thank you all from the bottom of my heart, every single one of you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye.